Hey friends, welcome back to Stones Hill Homestead. This is Kim if you're new here. And first thing I want to do is thank everybody for subscribing to the channel. The best way you have helped me is by sharing my videos, and I have reached 1,000 subscribers, and we just want to give a huge shout out to everyone and thank each and every one of you for taking the time to visit our channel. So today we are doing something new that we've never done. I got this Presto Precise digital pressure canner. I got them for my daughter-in-law and my son for Christmas. And I have never used one. They brought this over so that we could do pinto beans today. So we are going to start off with pressure canning pinto beans. We're going to put them in the jars and get them going, and she's going to teach me how to use this. And as we are getting set up here, I've got my jars to the left of this canner, and we are going to get started with seasoning the pinto beans prior to putting the beans in the jar. So I'm going to be adding some salt to each pint jar. I'm only doing pints because, one, it's my first time doing pinto beans, and I want to try out this canner, and I'm not sure how I'm going to use these pinto beans. So I am seasoning them with Redmond's real salt here, and I'm putting a half a teaspoon into each pint jar. Once that is done, I will add my beans. Now, I have soaked the beans overnight already, and I soaked them in water with apple cider vinegar. And as many of you know, that vinegar breaks down the phytic acid in the bean so it's easier to digest. Often we have some after effects from different kinds of beans. This helps for easier digestion. So you definitely want to remember to soak your beans. Now, there's other ways of canning and processing dry beans or anything. Please just do what you want to do. It's your kitchen, your rules, and I'm not here to be an expert. I am just here to show you that we can agree to disagree on some things, and maybe you'll find something in this video that you didn't know, or that you can share with somebody else, or maybe I will learn from you by your comments and you sharing with me. So I'm adding 1 cup of pre-soaked pinto beans to each pint jar. And I thought I had enough for 8 pints, and I probably actually did, but I only ended up with 7 pints in the pressure canner. So I end up at the very end, you will see I have some beef stew that I made, and I wanted to see how that cans, and rather than doing a whole canner full of this beef stew, I decided to just try 1 pint jar to see how it cans after the fact of making it. I have a previous video from the pantry challenge on my beef stew, and you're welcome to check out that video as well. I will try and tag that down in the description or at the end of the video. So I'm just separating all the beans here to the left, you can see, and I'm just trying to equalize all the beans to make sure I have the equal amount in all of the pint jars, plus leaving that 1-inch headspace that you need when canning beans in, so that you don't risk not sealing or buckling that jar from being overfilled. Once these are completely done, I add boiling water to each jar. The pressure canner is already heating up the water. It's warming up. And I'm going to add boiling water so that when I put those jars in that pressure canner, the temperature is the same. And here I am adding the boiling water to that. Once these are completely topped off at 1-inch headspace, I will check the headspace as well as clean those rims of jars, checking for any chips or nicks on the top of those jars. You want to make sure that these jars are damage free. That could cause a non-seal as well, or a jar that explodes in your canner, and that makes a big mess. And now you see me debubbling the jars here. Want to make sure there's no air bubbles, and then we're going to recheck that headspace and top off any jar with boiling water that we need to make sure that I do have that 1-inch headspace. And now I am doing that right now. I'm checking the headspace to 1 inch and topping them off as needed. And here I am taking that white vinegar, and I'm going to clean each of the rims of these jars. And I'm also going to pour some vinegar into the pressure canner just so that it will help to keep that calcium buildup off your jars. And it's important to do that. There are other things that you can use. I've heard cream of tartar you can use. Just do what you feel is best for your pressure canner or your cookware. As I finish cleaning these up, then I will put the lids on. I do warm my lids, but it's not necessary according to the manufacturer's instructions. I still do it. I just like to have that lid nice and warm so that everything is warm when I set things into the pressure canner. I'm putting on my rings finger tight, making sure that it's not overly tight. And again, it's that last check of that jar. And here is the final jar placed into the pressure canner, and we're going to put that lid on. We end up stopping the pressure canner by accident. We blew a fuse because I had 4 major appliances going at the same time in my kitchen, and as many of you know, I have a small kitchen. So the power went out briefly, so we had to start over. What we didn't realize is even though we had set the pressure canner here for 75 minutes, it had reset itself when the power went out. We did not recheck it. So we are getting it ready. My son is showing me how to use the pressure canner, and it is warming up. And as this warms up and it starts to steam, then this automatically starts that 10-minute timer to vent the pressure canner. At that point, after the 10 minutes, we will apply the weight, and the pressure canner will start doing everything. He's explaining this to me here, and the steam, telling me about the steam coming out, on how it works, and we'll leave it alone and it will pressure can. And so here we are, the steam is coming out, and we are getting ready to put that weight on. So my son is showing me this. He gets the weight on there, and this is where we should have realized what is happening. Once it gets up to the pressure, it starts to do its normal thing, just like a normal. When he pushed that button, we should have realized at that point it was set for 10 minutes. And that is when we discovered we need to stop this, let it come back down to temperature, and start over. And as you see here, we realize the pressure is up, and that's when we realize that 10 minutes timer is incorrect. So we got to cool it back down. It takes about an hour and a half for that to cool down. And then we open it. I add that other pint of beef stew to it, and then we reload and start again. So the 75 minutes has passed, and now we are to the point where it has cooled back down. I've removed the weight, and now I need to open up this pressure canner. And I can't figure it out. It takes me a little bit to figure it out, and then I realize I did not flip this to the point where it's open. I still can't do it, and then I grab that green and realize I have to tip it up. So now I know how to do it, and I'm able to lift away from your face. You want to watch that steam. and keep that away from you. You don't want any steam burns. I'm going to leave it set here a few more minutes because I do want those temperature of those jars to come down to prevent thermal shock. I don't want any jars breaking in this process. So as you can see, all of that is done, and I have the 7 jars of Pintos on the outside, plus that one in the middle that is that beef stew that I added once I realized that we had to reopen due to my power outage. And now it's cooled down enough. I am going to start removing those jars. One thing I've learned about the Precise Presto pressure canner is that it is time consuming, but the ease and the intimidation that you have from the normal pressure canner is not there. It is very easy to use and very safe as far as I'm concerned. I think all pressure canners are safe. You just have to know what to do and what not to do. I hope to own one of these someday. But I was very thrilled to have my son and daughter-in-law bring theirs over and teach me how to use it. Even an old dog can learn new tricks. I've been canning for many, many years, and it goes to show you can always learn new skill sets and new equipment. So this is the end of my Pinto Bean Presto Precise Canner video, and it was very enlightening on what it can do and how easy it can be. Don't be intimidated by pressure canning. And if you're new to pressure canning, this might be the way you want to go, but never lift that weight off to try and depressurize quicker. Let it cool down at its own. And here I am showing you the final product of today's canning project. We have another canning project going in the background as well in another canner. So I will share that video with you as well. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining. Thank you to all the new subscribers. And as always, be blessed and laugh as much as you breathe. Have a great day, everyone.